Welcome to Geordie Lass and Doc Sass. One day, a Geordie and a Canadian walk into a bar and decide to start a podcast about relationships, and what a topic that is. No subjects are off limits. Get in touch today with us at geordielass.com or email info@geordielass.com and let us know what you think and what we should talk about. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hey.
Hello. How's it going?
Oh my gosh. I don't know why. I feel like this Zen moment. I don't know why. I have no idea. You know, when you sort of like, you're doing this hectic incline in a big plane, a small one where you can feel every bump and so forth. And it feels like you're like just sort of screeching out of the atmosphere. And then you reach a cruising altitude and the engine's quiet and you're sort of coasting and you're looking at the clouds and the sunset. I'm going to throw a sunset in there and it feels great. For some reason, I feel like that right now. Maybe it's your presence. I'm not sure.
Oh, thank you.
But it feels like it has been a swift takeoff against gravity. And it's been a bumpy, turbulent ascent. Whew. Anyways.
You know, like everyone always says sort of like things just slow down, sort of July, August time. I'm like, I'm not feeling that. Mm-hmm. Why is that not happening in my universe?
It's funny you say that. I've been coaching a lot. Like, people are not taking vacation right now. I think people are really burning. There's a lot of viruses going on. People are sick right now. People are doing a lot of contacting, travel, frenetic. It is not quiet in people's lives right now. So to be clear, I feel like this Zen moment right now, but we're going to hit turbulence as soon as I get off this recording and leave this beautiful space that we record in. And it's going to be back to crazy as usual. So, yeah, it's just
well, let's hope we can make these moments count.
Yes, this is all we've got, philosophically speaking. We don't know if we have tomorrow or the next minute. Oh, okay, but it's not yet whiskey hour. So tell me, relationship.
I feel like I need to pull you back from the ledge, my love.
I know. I'm getting too crazy. What's going on at the relationship desk of love summer edition?
So, I've got some news for you. If you are a gentleman right now and you are listening to this, you'll probably be quite delighted with what I'm going to share.
Sex is great for your health and you should do it 4 times a week. I literally actually had a husband ask me to tell their wife that last week. I promise no word of a lie. But it is okay. Sorry. Go on.
Well, I'm going to give you something that would help in that scenario.
Oh, okay.
So I read a post which was about, so the headline is, men who have sex at least twice a week are less likely to have a heart attack.
Ah.
So it says the sexual activity of 1,000 men aged 40 to 70 were tracked, which began in 1987. Over a 16-year period, each man was routinely quizzed about how often they had sex and then checked for signs of heart disease. The results published in the American Journal showed that men who have made love at least twice a week are up to 45% less likely to develop life-threatening heart conditions than the men who only have sex around once a month or less.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm Googling this right now, and I found the study. This is amazing. Okay, the protective benefits may be many. Okay, keep going. I'm excited.
That's all I've got. I've just got like a little snippet. Sounds like you've just Googled and got even more than that.
God, are you kidding me? This is my thing. Okay, so sex is a form of exercise. Yes. Strengthens your heart, lowers your blood pressure, reduces stress, huge, and improves your sleep. In addition, intimacy in a relationship can increase bonding, can lower feelings of loneliness, depression, anxiety, all of which have been linked to higher heart disease risk. Yeah. So it's so funny. As long as your doctor has given you the go-ahead and you aren't experiencing any symptoms, it's okay to return to your normal activities. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please, like, why do you even have to ask me? There's almost never that I'd be like, you can't have sex. I'd be like, give her and give her and give her again. Yeah. I'm excited.
Well, now we have the official word on the street is go out there twice a week, get your jiggy on.
Get your jiggy on. Absolutely. Okay. This is very thrilling. Okay. Well, I feel like singing, so yeah.
Go on.
I feel like dancing. Yeah. Okay, but I do have to say, so there was an elder couple that were seeing me in clinic, and I just mentioned, for any sexual activity, just for this particular health condition, just use lubricant and a lot of it. And the husband just piped right up, flew out of his chair, and he's like, tell my wife, how many times a week? And I was like, and the wife was wagging her finger saying, no, tell him to get off me and that and so forth. So I refrained from telling this couple that they needed to have sex a certain number of times a week, but I just said, make it comfortable for all. It's good for your health and lubricant.
Well, I think that's the key thing, right? That you both got to want to partake in it.
Oh, and gosh, and we've talked about this, right? Sometimes you don't feel like it. So how do you get in the mood if you decide that you do want to engage in sexual activity because it brings you closer, but your body isn't initially responding? So how do you bring that online? Topic that we always talk about, and we'll keep talking about it. Okay.
All right. Shall we skip to a hot topic?
Oh, I'm skipping. So yeah, let's go.
Where has all the fun gone?
Okay. Wah, wah, wah. All right. No, I mean, yes, the disillusionment phase of a relationship, it's the crash after the infatuation, after the 24-hour bender on unmentionable drugs. Yes.
I think some of it is just really being quite deliberate and making time for each other and time to have fun together. I think we get really caught up in. Sometimes it's not about the relationship being in a kind of an unhappy space or, not kind of facing kind of too many challenges or having kind of a negative relationship or unhealthy relationship. Sometimes it's not about that. It's just that life takes over, and actually kind of just even snatching the tiniest bit of time together to have some fun can be quite tricky. And I do think that it's I think it's a bit like sex, right? So you get out of the habit of having sex. I think you get out of the habit of having fun.
Oh my God. Yes. I read somewhere that, I don't know if this is true, but just something that, the more that we retreat from having fun, the less we share, the more resentment, the more space that grows between us, and we get less vulnerable with our partners, and then it keeps compounding, then we're not sharing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I have learned so much in the last few months of the importance of fun and vulnerability and closeness. And they're all tied in a circle. I had no idea.
See, maybe fun is one of your values too. You just didn't realize it.
I realize that I have fun in certain ways and giving permission to myself to have fun, but it takes a lot of vulnerability. Yeah, I don't like being playful. I didn't enjoy my childhood, so I was very excited to be an adult. And so I just closed the door on fun. I thought, fun is for children. I didn't like being a child particularly. I'm very happy being an adult. But I realized it was a missing ingredient in my relationship. So yes, fun. You get out of the practice. Yeah. And some of us weren't even in the adult practice, and we had to learn as adults, like learning to do cartwheels as a 44-year-old. Not easy. Okay, so what's coming up for you? I mean, I'm tripping over my words here.
So I think, for me, I definitely know having kind of understanding kind of more about who I am as a person, what I value, what's important to me. So I know, and I've kind of shared on the podcast many times before, that fun is kind of like a major value of mine. I can't really kind of, if I feel like everything is just too serious, too kind of like same old, there's nothing that kind of breaks up the general day-to-day of things that we need to do. Everyone's got stuff that has to be done, right? My washing was piling up, I had to do it. These are things that we have to do. It's not necessarily fun things to do, but the stuff we've got to do. And life is made up of kind of things that are like that, but it's also made up of these beautiful moments that we can kind of experience fun and joy. But I needed to be there on a regular kind of daily basis, like even just in conversation. So I think often we'll think about fun as being an activity or something that we're doing that kind of creates fun. I think just generally kind of being should feel fun. I just think most aspects of your life should have some kind of fun element attached to them.
I love that fun is such a I have till recently been like, fun, so superfluous. But it's
so
amazing how
not,
you've made
though.
that. You're right. I didn't know that it was my
Even just
missing
like
need.
even a smile shared between two strangers, like that's something that's fun. It gives you kind of like that warmthness, that kind of reminds you that you're a human being again, right? Like, so it can come in the smallest of moments, as well as, some of the kind of more deliberate acts that we traditionally think of as fun.
Oh, you've got that. I'm thinking about being on any large major city subway, where there's always crazy going on, and you've got a car full of strangers and somebody's doing this weird thing, and then everybody kind of looks at each other and shares this smile of, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
What is that person wearing? What are they on today? And it is, oh gosh, that feeling. Doesn't everybody, as we mentioned this, doesn't this surge of beautiful like warmth flow through your body as you think about that shared smile with everybody? Can't be beat. It's beautiful.
But I think it's so important in a relationship to have kind of whatever your version of fun is. So everyone has kind of different version. For some, it might be that, they really kind of major on the humour factor, and they want to have that kind of shared humour together in a relationship. For others, it might be kind of, we regularly want to be out there doing sporting things together, or we've got a real kind of love of food, therefore kind of that's our element of fun. Like, everybody's got their own interpretation of what fun means to them, and they'll have, generally it's the fun and the humour of life is generally what kind of brings us to people. When you ask somebody, what do you find attractive in your partner, very often it is kind of really like the sense of humour. And we'll have a shared connection over that. So I think it's important to every single relationship to be able to maintain, to not lose sight of, and to make time for fun.
Right. Oh my gosh, this is so critical. It's so wonderful. Just because I've just literally stumbled upon this, and the fact that fun can be so different. It's funny how but this fades and we forget. We say we want sense of humor, but then we don't. We stop after a while contributing to the fun and the humor in our relationship, and the laughter starts to fade and to stop. And so. I think fun is a verb. It's creating moments. It's contributing your part of it. We look for somebody with a good sense of humor, but that's not that they're going to be doing stand-up routines for us all the time. We have to bring the environment for that.
Yeah, it's part of the kind of the banter in the back and forth, isn't it? It's part of that kind of connection, and you almost kind of will feed each other in those moments.
Yes. Oh gosh, this is lovely. So, let's say that there's a bunch of people, and I've been here, where you feel like you used to have fun and you haven't anymore, and you're feeling terribly sad. And you have a feeling that it's both of you. It's a two to tango, that life has just gotten in the way. The infatuation stage has sort of transitioned to the disillusionment or so forth, or sort of a phase where you're not, rose-colored glasses, giddy over each other all the time. You're not trying so hard, honestly, neither of you. But there are commonalities. There are things that you guys share, and you want to get this back online. What do you do?
So I think the key thing you've said in that is you're just not trying anymore, both of you.
Yeah.
So we get this quite a lot. So, when I do work with couples, then you get to hear kind of both sides of the story, right? And so one of the really powerful exercises to do is to really look at their relationship from an holistic point of view, to look at exactly kind of where would you, if you were going to rate different aspects of the relationship, what would you rate them as? And if you were going to then kind of look to the future and say, well, actually, do you know what? We are pretty sound in all these areas. We're kind of reasonably satisfied with kind of all the segments that a relationship has, what would be happening, what would be different. And I think fun is often one of those elements that can get scored low, because generally when couples come at that point, it's because they've got things that need resolving. So, and often what you will discover as part of the work together is that actually they're not making the relationship a priority. They're not making, scheduling time to spend with each other to be able to do some of the things that they actually want and desire in the relationship. So I think, making time for each other is super important, especially when you feel like you're quite saddened in your relationship. And it's really hard because we will often, when we feel really kind of sad and hopeless in a relationship, we almost look to the other person to make it better for us. So we kind of sit in our state of sadness and think, well, if I'm sad for long enough, then the other person must know that and must come and make it better for me.
Know what I'm
their
thinking.
Job.
Detect what I'm thinking and come and rescue me without me asking.
Yeah.
So often have I played this game, yes.
So I think this is kind of like a pattern of behaviour that we see playing out. But I genuinely believe that, and I've kind of changed my views over the years about kind of how relationships work and hence kind of why I do the work that I'm doing. But I think that if we genuinely want something to happen in the relationship, we've got to take responsibility for that. So an example would be if I've gone kind of 2 weeks and me and my partner haven't been out or done something or feel like we've spent enough time together, because we do generally try and eat dinner together every night, but that's sometimes not always enough, right? So we can be sat at dinner and we always have kind of good conversation, talk about kind of what's going on, but sometimes it's not enough. You need more than that. So if it's been sort of like 2 weeks, 3 weeks and kind of schedules have just been a bit mental, then, I will say, look, it's been too long now. I need something.
Yes.
I need something other than kind of just the daily kind of, the daily behaviour of kind of living together. I want more than that. I want something outside of that makes me feel like we are connecting and we're having fun and we've got a shared experience together.
Yes. Again, the responsibility is shared and there's no sort of pass from like us, picking up our sleeves and getting into the muck of it. Yeah.
But I mean, you could sit there in that scenario and say, well, my other half should take responsibility. They should kind of be feeling the same way that I'm feeling, but they maybe experience fun in a slightly different way and they don't need that kind of same... Whether, in this case, it's kind of more of an external experience. But if their idea of fun is actually, I feel that we have fun on a daily basis when we connect, and that's enough for them, then they're not going to be kind of the same mindset, in which case, it is down to you to say, look, do you know what? It's been a little while. I want to kind of get dressed up. I want to go out. I want to experience a nice meal together and just... feel like the rest of the world isn't there and doesn't matter and it's just you and I.
Yeah. If you have that resentment, like you're like, I don't want to take the first move. I don't want to get vulnerable. I'd rather be right than actually be proactive. How do you get out of your own ego?
So I think the question is like, what do I want to achieve? What's my outcome? Where do I want to be? What do I want to happen? And I think then the next step from that should always be, okay, what's in my control? What is in my gift? What can I do about this?
Yeah. That's a good thing for me to think about. I still am like, but I'd rather be right. I'd rather sacrifice this relationship and see it go off the cliff than counter my own feelings of resentment and entitlement that are not being met. Gosh, man, it's a lot to get out of my own ego. But yes, what is within my gift? Honestly, I've heard a lot in past relationship that, where I've been stewing and been like, oh, my partner's not doing anything. They're being a jerk. And then I hear later, well, like, no, you were being cold and distant and I didn't know how to approach you. So, I mean,
100%.
like, I am a bitch when I want to be. But I'm like, no, but you have to understand, I'm just hurt. Just start treating me nicely and I'll warm up. No, I'm an ice princess.
Yeah, but the thing here is, right, nobody's talking about how they're actually feeling. Everyone's internalizing it and just kind of doing their own silent protest of their, because their needs aren't getting met, but they're not actually communicating what it is that they want. So, classic example, I was coaching with some people. They hadn't been kind of spending time together, connecting as they should have been. And they had the opportunity for a whole week to be able to do that. Neither one of them kind of, picked up the phone or asked the question or said, what are you doing? When can we get together? So they just kind of spent the whole week not being together and not communicating. And it's the biggest thing that they need in their relationship right now. So because they didn't voice, each one of them's almost kind of waiting for the other person to make the first move, and they're making these assumptions then, that person, maybe they're busy, or maybe they don't want to spend time together this week. So because of all that, all of the unspoken stuff is actually governing what's happening in their relationship.
Oh my gosh, yes. Isn't that funny how I know this to be true?
It's so true. I've been through it far too many times.
Well, and I have had a relationship actually come to a close and die on the unspoken.
Yeah.
And I look back on that and I'm like, if we'd actually brought the unspoken into the spoken, we might have taken a different path. And it is what it is. Not every relationship is meant to be saved. And it's okay, because sometimes we have to learn on the job, right? There's really no way to intellectualize. So, but there are relationships that will die on the unspoken.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the other thing I'd say is, based on that scenario that you described before, is when there is this kind of hurt and sadness, and it's really, really difficult to do this, but the best thing to do is to try and kind of park it and pop it to one side and really then just think, okay, what would be kind of one or two small things that I could do right now to try and get some of that fun back, try and kind of get myself back into the relationship. Because even just kind of dedicating, 5, 10, 20 minutes a day to doing something that you both feel like is a fun activity, then, or a fun way to connect with each other, can be just what you need to start to unlock some of that sadness that's there and actually kind of change some of the feelings that you're having.
And we only need a 1 degree shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. It's a little bit of seeing your partner's humanity again, and a little tiny bridge to seeing something that you recall that brings you back to times when you were closer.
Yeah.
And that can often light quite a significant spark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling for the people who feel very locked behind their own ego.
Oh, yeah.
And waiting for the other person to make the first move and sticking in the unsaid, being trapped in the unsaid.
But it's fear of rejection. So in some of those situations that we're talking about where you don't want to reach out to your partner and say, do you fancy doing something? Or saying kind of, this is how I'm feeling and this is what I would like to be different, or kind of sharing something that kind of feels like quite a vulnerable thing to share. We don't want to do that because we don't want the other person to kind of reject that request. But often that isn't the result. But we still end up, by not doing anything, we end up stuck in this situation that we don't want permanently.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And stuck in a situation which it's just days before. It's the nails in the coffin. It's just not days. It's weeks, maybe months, maybe years before it finally dies out. Yeah. We've all been there, and again, there's no judgment as to what the outcome is going to be, but if there's some small thing that and you're going to learn this lesson one way or the other in some relationship today, next year, 5 years from now, it's your choice. I've realized that I now want to learn the lessons now and not keep turfing things down the road and being like, I just want to find a better communicator. That's not it. So this is really helpful. Gosh, I'm loving your hot topics these days, because it's just provoking. They're so open-ended and they trigger such a knowing, I think, in all of us who've gone a little bit down the road of the war of relationship, right?
Oh, yeah.
A little battle weary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed.
But not giving up. That's why we're all here. That's why you're listening, folks. Nobody who's listening has given up on a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Now you're nice and toasty and warm.
Yes,
Shall we
yes.
take a question?
Yes, let's go for it.
Today's question. I've been in a long-term relationship for almost 13 years. I've been waiting for a proposal for over a decade. We have 3 kids and they ask, why aren't you and Dad married? I'm in my 30s and all of our friends are getting married. Whenever I mention it, he doesn't seem interested at all. It doesn't sit right with me that we aren't married. Should I give up hope?
Okay. Wow, there's a lot of unsaid stuff here.
Indeed.
Yeah. So what do you imagine are the assumptions that are sort of left unspoken about in this relationship? And this is not uncommon.
No,
Not uncommon.
No. I think this is still the thing, isn't it? Like, I'm guessing this is kind of male and female relationship. And I have a challenge with this because I still think that why in this day and age, or is it down to kind of the man still to decide when people get married? Like, surely this is like a massive decision and it's something that you should make as a couple together.
Mm-hmm. So do you think this is a situation where she has never been asked and she's never said that she's interested in getting married?
I think, it sounds like from the kind of question that they've had some discussions about it and the kids have asked questions and that sort of thing, but they're not getting down and kind of open and discussing how they both really feel about this situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because, like the proposal, it's supposed to be a surprise and, the air of kind of magic around it, I guess. And is that why people kind of feel more less, able to discuss stuff or reluctant to kind of share what they'd like to do? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that, and they say too, there's many who think that sort of with more freedom, reproductive health freedom for women has actually done us a disservice in that there is no impetus or there's no motivation for commitment. So when marriage used to be the gate through which you'd have to pass to be able to have sex, everybody was kind of rushing to the gate. Whereas now we have so much reproductive health freedom, we've got control over our contraception, or at least that's in certain jurisdictions. So now there's literally no reason to get married. You mentioned 3 children, so these folks have actually had a family.
Yeah.
Don't have to get married. So because the necessity is gone, I think a lot of us women are very, folks in general are shy about the fact that we still want something that's considered traditional. And in fact, our own kind, like feminism itself, is sort of asking, why do you need a piece of paper? Why do you need to formalize? Marriage is a trap. I think that we don't feel confident to be able to explain, to be able to voice and to proudly to say, I want to get married. But it seems uncool. A commitment phobic partner can easily hide behind if you don't explain that you want this and your partner is commitment phobic, then it'll be this like unspoken stalemate. But the big thing is this person has not said, you know what, I want to get married. It's really important to me. Sure. Yeah. Don't need to. It's just a piece of paper. It's a whatever. I want to formalize it. I want to celebrate our togetherness. And it's important for me. But those words may or may not have been spoken. It's hard to tell. Maybe the partner is very commitment phobic and has heard that as like, well, maybe later, maybe after why don't we buy a house first and then stabilize and then we can maybe think about it. So any manner of things, kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. I think often the financial part of it, plays into it as well because, it's bloody expensive, right? Like,
yes. Well, but then even rethinking at the end of the day, I've done a courthouse wedding. So it costs $25 to register your wedding and then you go back. And I guess that's then the nitty gritty details of, well, what kind of wedding? Is it a courthouse wedding or do you want something bigger? But expense doesn't have to be the thing. That is an excuse. I
don't think it has to be the thing, but I don't know. I'd bet this person wants a big wedding. I'm not thinking you wait for over a decade for a proposal and you are then happy with some kind of small, quiet affair.
Well, but I mean, I wouldn't assume, because I guess in a way that's not judgmental, I would ask, it's funny because what I'd like to ask this person is, what makes this important? What elements, what would be important to you about getting married? That feels judgmental, like, well, why do you want to get married? What's so important about it? My question is, what all is important?
I don't think it's about being judgmental. So I think it is about saying kind of, what's the significance? What would it mean to you to be married? Like, how would that feel different for you in your relationship? What would it bring that you don't have to do? They would be the things I'd explore.
What do you think? Because I've been in a situation where I wanted a step up on commitment and didn't adequately voice my request. Again, learning every day. If you'd asked me those questions, I would have said, well, I want somebody to feel seriously about me, to commit. I want to be motivated to commit. I don't want to see that we could just walk away from this every day. And there's people who don't have a marriage contract between them and they approach every day as serious as they were married. I mean, it doesn't have to be the thing that makes things serious, but for a lot of us, and that's me in that bucket, is it really formalizes, like, we are deciding to honor our commitment to do the hard work and to place our own egos to the side to make this crazy experiment work over a long period of time and keep running the marathon every day. So for me, and because I'm so anxious and rejection phobic, I mean, my concern is always like, this person can take a hike any day. And to be honest, like, a lot of folks who are avoiding getting married are fear avoidant, insecurely attached, and they would like to have the option to jet any day. So, yeah.
But the reality is, right, if you want to leave a relationship, whether you're married or not, you can still leave it.
I know this to be true.
That contract does not say that you are never, ever going to be kind of, apart, that, that you're in this for life. There was always the intention when you take some vows that you kind of are intending to stay with that person.
And I think that's the important thing, is the intention. I think, it's not for everybody. And I've come in and out of this, but I think for people who want to find a voice of the why, because it seems so trivial these days, again, because there's really no need to get married. And so to rationalize it, because I think when we aren't able to find the words for why it's important, we end up backing down, and then we end up backing down off a need that is truly present, and it keeps coming back up again and again and again. Yeah. So articulate it. Like, I'm expressing an intention, my partner is expressing their intention, and we cross into a different zone together, a different zone of understanding. That we will place our own egos aside to be able to sort of work on this grander thing, that it's not just a fair weather thing. And I think for some people, and it may be this person who's writing in, this is an important marker for them. Yeah.
It's one of the kind of major decisions in life, isn't it? So we make decisions about kind of where do we want to live, like how many kids do we want to have, like how, what are some of the kind of major achievements that we'd like to have as a couple and individually. We talk about kind of lots of the big, more kind of, monumental parts of a relationship. And these are the things that we need to be discussing with each other to avoid disappointment that rolls on and on and on, as it is in this situation. Mm-hmm. There's an expectation or an anticipation that one day it'll happen, whether, because of longevity then, if we've been together for that long, then surely I kind of feel this sense of expectation, and we've got kids and so like, why, it's almost a kind of like, why wouldn't we be married? Like, I get the feeling that this listener doesn't understand why they're not married already.
Yeah. Gosh,
so it's important to have a chat about this and just say, look, I've been thinking about this a little bit recently, and I really would like to do this, and these are my reasons why. Yeah. Like, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, because at the minute I'm kind of making it all up in my head, and that's not fair to you. So I want to be fair to you, and I want to hear your side of things.
Oh my gosh, I feel like writing that down, because that's exactly I'm bringing this up because the story that I'm telling in my head paints you in a terrible light. I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
Very, very true. Yeah, I think, I think this is probably the season for it too, because there's a lot of folks are going to weddings, and they're going to weddings with their spouse, with their partners and boyfriends and so forth. And they're like, this is a really triggering season, if I might overuse that term. There's this feeling of, well, her boyfriend proposed to her and loves her. Why doesn't my boyfriend love me enough to be able to propose to me? I think a lot of people are going to weddings and having that thought pop up. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of resentful, quiet, stone silence in cars driving back from weddings this month. So I love these words to help to put a constructive conversation on the books between two people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communication.
Did we mention that you should talk to your partner?
But, talking to our partner with kindness, right? Rather than, how would this have gone in my last relationship? Driving home from wedding, stone cold silent. What's wrong? Nothing. Are you sure? Nothing. And then half an hour later, blow up. Oh gosh, anyways, whatever toxic spewing, like you never blah, blah, you always blah, blah, and Julie's husband loves her now, and we'll never get married, and you don't love me. Yeah, anyways. So not that. Not that. Please.
Lessons in love.
You've got it. Oh, all right.
All right.
What's your evening looking like?
Well, it's still raining here.
What? Oh my God. I keep tuning in. I'm like, is it any hotter than 18 degrees? And it's like...
No, I don't think so. I have got shorts on today, though. I'm trying to pretend it's summer, even though it's not summer.
Oh gosh, okay.
Thought I'd just do it.
Yeah.
See what's what. But yeah.
No.
It's not getting any better.
No. Okay.
Yeah. 19 degrees and raining.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, you're going to have the most fabulous September. It's going to be such a long summer in September.
Well, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. All right, my dear. Well, stay warm and dry.
I will do.
Stay sassy.
Yes. Till next time.
Till next time.
So that's it for another week of Geordie, Lass and Doc Sass. We hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed chatting. Get in touch and share your questions for relationship remedies and any hot topics you want us to cover. If you need help navigating all things relationships, Anna and Sarah are available for one-on-one coaching support. Email info@geordielass.com. Please remember to like, share, subscribe if you've enjoyed listening. And if you've not, how on earth have you made it this far? I promise we'll try harder next time.